I'm here. It's actually a great coincidence. My boss, the Vice President of Marketing, Patrick Klinger, we call him the marketing genius of the Minnesota Twins, actually got the invitation from Brad, and it just worked out perfectly that we were coming up here on the Twins Winter Caravan, which appeared last night in Fargo at the Hub to a sold-out crowd of over 700 people. So it was a great opportunity for me to take this invitation and run with it here, as we're coming up into town yesterday already. So we'll talk a little bit about the Winter Caravan, because that's one of the many marketing initiatives that I oversee, and kind of a staple in the Minnesota Twins, kind of the arsenal of how we market our ball club throughout Twins territory. And I'll get to a video. I would like to kind of give you a look at what we do on the Winter Caravan through the video that we show at each stop, and it's also kind of a special video this year as we are debuting Target Field in 2010, and this video kind of highlights that to the nth degree. But before we get to the video, I'll just give you a little background on myself, how I got into the business. I was actually wanting to be a TV superstar. I had desperately dreamed to be a sportscaster. I was going to be the next great thing on SportsCenter on ESPN. So right out of college, I worked for 12 years in the sports broadcasting business in the major markets of Mankato, Minnesota, and Billings, Montana. And along the way, we got married and had a kid, and my wife from the Twin Cities really wanted to get back to Minneapolis, or to actually Stillwater, just on the St. Croix River, to bring our daughter back to the grandparents, or the only grandchild that my in-laws have. So I kind of sold my soul, and I took a producer's job at Channel 5 KSTP, the Hubbard station in Minneapolis, St. Paul, going off air to bring my wife back to the Twin Cities, figuring I was going to be able to turn it back into on-air work. Lo and behold, as this would have been 1999 to 2000, I started seeing the television world changing a little bit, especially on the TV news side. I started disliking it a lot. It was tough for me to go to work. Honestly, it was for the first time in my life, I wasn't having any fun at all doing a job. And I was in the job for about 6 months, and I had some good friends at the Minnesota Twins, and one of them was leaving to go to the Minnesota Wild, and he called me. He said, "There's a great job open here at the Twins. It's the director of broadcast. Would you be interested?" And I said, "No, I got to stick this through. I've got to get over this hump, and I'll get back to liking my job, and I'm gonna fight through this." And so I didn't take the job. He called me a month later. He said, "The job is still open. Would you be interested in taking it?" I said, "Nope, I'm going to fight through this." And every day in that month, it was worse and worse and worse, to the point where I just hate this. 3 months later, I've turned down the job twice, or even the opportunity. 3 months later, for the first time in my life, I looked at the want ads in the paper. I got up, it was almost a level of minor depression, and I looked in the want ads. I've never done it before for a job in my entire life. I haven't since, and the job was in the paper, that same job. And I said, that must be a sign. So I made a phone call. Next thing I know, I was interviewing 2 days later, and I got the job. Well, the reason why it was in the paper is because nobody wanted it. Back in 2000, the Minnesota Twins were horrible. Looked like we were going towards contraction. We had 7 straight losing seasons. Nobody was showing up at the ballpark, failing initiatives for the new stadiums. Everybody knows the story. And I just took the job, and my friend said, you're silly. This is a dead-end job. You should get out of it. You don't even know anything about sports marketing, for crying out loud. You're a TV guy. And I said, well, I'll fake it. So next thing you know, I've been faking it for 10 years. We've won 5 division championships. Have had only 1 losing season in the time I've been there. Nothing to do with what I've done, but it's been a great job, and we've seen some great success. And now, 10 years later, we're moving into a new ballpark. We just moved into our offices at Target Field on January 4th. And the future looks extremely bright for the Minnesota Twins. And, all because one day I looked in the newspaper in the want ad. So that's just goes to show you never know when that opportunity is going to come and how it's going to come. So that's me in a nutshell. I'll get a little bit deeper into my role in the broadcasting world and in the game presentation world, which is completely changing at Target Field. But before that, for the baseball fans and for those who want to see what Target Field looks like, we'll play the Caravan video. If I can figure out, I'm kind of computer illiterate. We've got this set up, but this is a 12-minute video that we run on the Caravan. This kind of looks ahead to the season 2010. So that's a look at what we bring out on the Caravan, and we got to see it firsthand last night. We had 700 people at the Hub and you just get that sense of excitement that people get at this time of year, and maybe the weather the way it is, and the want to have the summertime and baseball back. I know there's a lot of excitement in the upper Midwest. The Vikings still alive, playing in the NFC Championship game on Sunday, but this is a time we find pretty special, just because it's our chance to get out to the folks in Twins territory, which is our marketing slogan for the last 5 years, but really it's been the slogan of the Minnesota Twins since 1961, and the Winter Caravan is the greatest example of how we are a 5-state and a upper Midwest region team, beginning in 1961. Let's see if I can get this, again, not a smart computer guy. Beginning in 1961, when Calvin Griffith brought the team from Washington, D.C. to Minnesota, he knew he had a huge region to cover. He knew that there was, at the time, no baseball team from Chicago to, or actually I guess it would have been Milwaukee, all the way to the West Coast, at least the upper part of the West Coast. Seattle didn't exist at the point in time with the baseball team, either the Pilots or the Mariners. So we had a huge region, and he began the Winter Caravan in 1961, and we do it still today, and still do it at a level that is higher than anybody else in all of professional sports. Most teams do this type of grassroots marketing where you get out to the communities in your market, but nobody does it like we do. And nobody puts the time, energy, and money into it. Our budget this year for the Caravan is $125,000. That's just money out of pocket. We hope we can recoup it with ticket sales. We hope that we generate excitement when we get out to all these communities. We figure last night in Fargo, of those 700 people, many of them are going to make the trip down to Target Field at some point in time. But that is the game plan, is just to get out and get people excited and say thank you, and really press the flesh. And our players actually really enjoy this. They love it for about 5 or 6 years, getting out, signing the autographs, and getting to all the communities in Twins territory. Then about 5 or 6 years in, they kind of graduate from it a little bit and let the younger kids go on. But it is still something that they enjoy, and they get the chance to see then firsthand what the passion of the fans, the Twins fans, are in Twins territory. As I said, sold out last night, 700. Fargo's always one of our best stops, 240 miles away from the Twin Cities, and yet we'll get that support. We were in Bismarck 2 years ago, and we were sold out 500 people in Bismarck, another 2.5 hours down the road, and it's a fun endeavor. I've been overseeing it for the last 9 years, putting together all the legs and the routes, and we'll go out with 4 different groups going out in the next 2 weeks for the space of an entire week. We rely on our radio and our cable affiliates to help pull this off, because we can't get into each town and set up every event. We'll be making 85 stops over the next 2 weeks. So we go to our radio affiliates, we go to cable affiliates, and they are the ones who really set up the time and the venues for us. So we lean on our partners in this instance. It's a great benefit for them to have us come into the communities, and then so it's a great relationship, and very helpful in being able to pull off what we pull off. So that's the Winter Caravan. That'll be going on for the next 2 weeks, and then we lead right into Twins Fest, which is our big Twin Cities push to get folks excited and get people thinking about buying tickets and Twins baseball. For many years, Twins Fest used to be the time when we would put our tickets on sale, but because of the new ballpark and some other factors, we don't put our tickets on sale now until March, but we still will draw over 35,000 people for Twins Fest, which is the last weekend of January. We open up the Metrodome. Yeah, we have to go back to the Metrodome for this, but there's just no other facility to be able to house such an event like that. So that's our January marketing push right now, is getting out to the communities and then holding the big event in the Twin Cities. That's coming up, Twins Fest. My main job with the Twins for the other 11 months is overseeing the Twins radio network, and we actually sold our soul this year and became the Treasure Island Baseball Network, which is many funny stories involved in that, but Treasure Island is one of our main partners at Target Field, but per Major League Baseball rules, Treasure Island and the Twins cannot be said together in the same sentence. There's a juxtaposition rule. So I've already broken it 3 times here today, so please don't rat me out. But we cannot call it Treasure Island Twins Baseball Network or the Treasure Island Twins Radio Network. It is now just the Treasure Island Baseball Network.